Hello, fellow humans. Welcome back. Today I'm gonna be working on some old sketches that I have. This was when I was like 13, so sorry if it looks a little bit uh, ugly or anything like that. But yeah, this is an old sketch that I did when I was around 13 years old. And it's something that I've been thinking about doing for quite a while because this character has a plot that I love to actually make. I imagine you already know by the title is Morgan. He didn't have that name at first, but you know, it doesn't matter. It's just details. If you know how character development works, uh, you understand that most of the ideas don't start as the first thing that you think about. It always develops into a better and more detailed character. If it doesn't, it means that you haven't finished your product. At least enough. As you can see, most of these drawings don't have the art style that I use now, but as you go further, you start seeing the patterns appear, like with the line art that starts to get blunt, as well as working on my art style with things like the character itself. I worked on trying to see how body shapes would be easier and more geometrical. Obviously, it didn't work completely, but it gave me an idea of, in this case, the head would actually work. With time, I just went ahead and made it a little bit more complex, and as you can see, line art is starting to appear. So it is a process for sure. You don't want to just go with one idea first and just get in love with it. You want to know how the idea can actually work in your favor. Most of the best ideas come from one basic one, and it evolves to a more lovable or hateful character. As well, I've been working on how the colors scheme would actually work. His ethnic, which if you can notice where I took that ethnic from. uh, yes, he's a little bit on that side of the island. But I just want to demonstrate that the character itself went through a lot actually. This is me designing from real life a jacket just to know how it would look in a drawing. And obviously, it has too many details that if you were to animate this, it would be hell. I made it just to create a more of a base for my character to be in. Things like how the dimensions would work for him, and even how he would look in an overall. Once his arm is a little bit too big, even though it's in the foreground, it doesn't fit the whole body itself. It's by a little bit, but it does make it look off, which gives you an idea of how you gotta work on your gestures that much to get in the way that I want it to. So I just have it as a reminder of what I want to make. Once I did have those dimensions, I actually got a great design for the jacket, how the zipper is gonna look, in the animation itself. Here's where it gets complicated. What I want to make is based on a realism kind of a look. Use my style in a look like this, which of course this is another thumbnail and it's not well made, but this next one is gonna be a little bit more complex. I want to do half of it and such, and I've been working on it. So you can see here I actually made it a more cartoony look. I used some of the details to actually make it easier for me. But as we go on, I have to think how I was gonna make the other design. Because the other one I just thumbnailed just to play around with some watercolors, but now that I'm gonna use gouache, I'm planning out some of the stuff a little bit better. I already prepared some of the gestures and how I want to work out the idea. How the angle of the gesture is gonna be, and where does the scene, let's say scene for this painting, is gonna be around this square that I made. And I even played of how that body would actually work on, and how the hand is gonna look. This is an exaggeration just to see how it's gonna look. Everything that I'm doing right now is exaggerating the features so I can know where I'm going with this. So let's just go ahead and start drawing. I want to apologize for the sound change. I just got a new mic. A better mic, as you can see. But one thing is picks up more up than the other mic that I had, so it's gonna be a little bit more background noises. But at least it has a digital compressor, so win-win, right? One of the things that I was doing before, I was doing the sketch, and I then did what you saw in time-lapse, where I'm doing the sketch art, which is gonna be the part where I'm gonna detail most of the work, make it look a little bit more to the shot that I want to take on the painting, and figuring out how I want to shade the painting itself. I'm gonna concentrate mostly on what it is that I want with the line art and the shading in this part. Doing the sketch art is different than the sketch itself, because the sketch is just a rough one, and the sketch art, it just mainly concentrates the point of view of how the lines are gonna look. Okay, so we finished doing the first part of it. It's just with 4H. Now we're gonna go ahead and up that up. I'm figuring out where the shadows are gonna be. I'm gonna start doing more intense contrast. That way I can separate most of the lines that are less noticeable. For example, most of these lines are more contrasted usual than others, like inside let's call magma at this point, because this is basically magma. These lines are the cracks between, and this is what is a layer of molten lava, is what I'm trying to replicate here. So most of it is gonna be basic understanding of how the lines are gonna be more intense contrast. Okay, perfect. We have finished most of the lines, and perspective wisely is finished. Most of those details of the lines are done, and now we're gonna go ahead and start shading as the last process on this. And then we're gonna see what those details are gonna look. What I'm gonna try to do, because this area is mostly lighted because it's lava magma combination that I have here, there's gonna be a light source out of it, but still it makes some shadows that makes the color sharper because of the fact that the lava parts are a little bit darker and cover most of the light. That is going to be set up in a way that actually can show and make it look mostly like the light is coming from it and being covered. It's going to be difficult. I gotta sharpen some lines up. I'm gonna have to use a darker pencil for this so I can actually make it look sharper. That way I can actually create the illusion that is darkened in those areas. It was a mission. It took me a little bit of a while to actually come back and do all of this between everything that has been happening, and yeah, it's been a little bit difficult. Okay, so we finished most of the work on the sketch art. Now I just gotta do the background, but as you can see, most of the shadowing that I did in this area, instead of using the basic shading techniques that you use for areas where you wouldn't use lines, here I used that technique because it was easier to do that than try to shade between lines and destroying what was behind that, making it more unique, if you will. I'm gonna try to make this into the painting itself. So finishing the art style was perfect. So now we are gonna do the background. This is the perfect opportunity to use again the light box. That way I can actually make a layer for the background itself instead of having both at the same time and making it a little bit more difficult to know where my limits and basically parameters are gonna be. Most of it is gonna generate from him, so what is the background is gonna be like a plasma lightning hybrid. That's why most of the light source and the shadows that I chosen were so. Well then, I finished most of the work with the sketch art and the designing. Now we're going back to the roots to the next episode, where I'm gonna start designing by the color palette and everything. Hope to actually have this all set up for the next episode. I don't know if you noticed, but here it is, my new microphone. Now the backgrounds are not gonna be a problem, as you can see. This is basically it for the video. Hope you enjoyed. Have a nice day. Indoors, please. Indoors. For those that are essentials, I do get it. I'm in an essential, so just hold on there. Keep yourself safe. Wash your hands. Clean your face. Take a regular bath. I don't think that's a problem for most of people. And hope you enjoy. Goodbye.